How to determine if VGK won or lost on Jonathan Marchessault, which team, VGK or Nashville, has a better season ahead. Coming up next, right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. And please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com this summer. FanDuel hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily.
I had to switch our sides there. We were on the wrong sides, but we're good now.
We're always on the wrong side of the fence. We're always debating stuff. We've got JFresh Analytics had its first run of its standings. The projections for the upcoming season of VGK, it's about where we would think it might be. VGK in third place in the Pacific with 97 points. Nash Vegas, 96 points in the Central in fifth place. I'm not sure VGK will be the better team of the two this upcoming season, sans Jonathan Marchessault.
No, I mean, starting with the Preds, this is a good roster. And Barry Trotz, I mean, he's definitely been a busy man. Just some of their top.
Remember when I said Barry Trotz should have replaced Kelly McCrimmon here? Do you remember that?
You were on that a while back.
I was on that.
Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault, Ryan O'Reilly. Now, listen, Forsberg's 29, Stamkos, Marchessault, and Ryan O'Reilly, 34, 33, 33. So I get that. That's certainly maybe a concern. Hey, Vegas Golden Knight grade, Cody Glass. There you go. Bam, huge. Luke Evangelista, great up-and-comer. I love Luke Evangelista. He could have a 30-goal season. In the back, you have Roman Josi, who is a surefire Norris candidate every single year. And the quietest possibly off-season signing was Brady Shea. That is a huge addition for the Nashville Predators. And
be on the top pairing defensively, I would imagine.
He got the Noah Hannafin treatment. He got a contract through the end of 2030, 2031, which will make him like 36 when that contract ends. So we'll see how that shakes out. Then you look at the net. I mean, you got Saros, who's had a great season. He's definitely a solid goaltender, not up and comer. He's 29 years old. They brought in Scott Wedgwood to help out in the back, and they still got Askarov back there in the AHL, who's a huge trade target. So you gotta like the outlook in Nashville.
Right now, at least preseason, Marchessault slotted to play on the second line in Nashville, along with Tommy Novak centering and that guy, Steven Stamkos. That's a pretty powerful line, if you ask me.
Was that a $23 million second line? You said Nyquist is going to be with them?
Tommy Novak, I think.
Novak, yeah. So 3.5, 12. It's like an $18 million line. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not so bad. And right now in the month of July for Vegas, you either have Alexander Holtz or Victor Olofsson, who will take Marchessault's spot on the top line. And a lot of questions obviously still remain there. And you have to wonder about the upside of Holtz. And again, Olofsson, will he be a malcontent or was he in Buffalo? You never know.
This is where McCrimmon needs to get some credit. Need to make sure we do acknowledge the other side of this, starting with the Holtz deal. Paul Cotter, fun guy in the locker room, just couldn't find his way as far as establishing a constant or consistent identity. So basically part of the Logan Thompson deal, one of those third-round picks that the Golden Knights got from the Capitals, Cotter and a third goes to New Jersey, comes back our way, Alexander Holtz. And Akira Schmid. Schmid can end up having an important role with this team. The Golden Knights have had a need for 3 goalies for the better parts of their first 7 seasons. Going back to Holtz, huge upside, was getting limited minutes, still found a path to 16 goals in a third and fourth line complementary role. We'll see if he can elevate. And Olofsson, listen, there's history with Jack Eichel there. It's a great lottery ticket, 1.075 million AAV for one season, I believe. you have someone that has scored 20 or greater goals 3 times in his career. He's a 28 or 29-year-old, so there's still some upside right there. You got history. So there is a chance that those two players do pop and help minimize, if you will. It's not going to minimize, but help minimize the loss of Marchessault.
And I was reading one of the websites in New Jersey, and the Devils think that they have perhaps won this trade with Cotter. I say no. Marchessault, I don't think so. Marchessault, if he scores 30, his steady like annual goal output before he broke out, with the 42. I think that this is a team that's in not only playoff contention, but perhaps at the top of the heap. Not sold of like Minnesota up there near the very top. Nashville, we remember last season coming back with that 18 game point streak that they had via U2 at the Sphere. Yeah, all that. But I wanted to also ask you about Marchessault. And you had an article that you put out about Marchessault, and you think that it was a bad idea that the Vegas Golden Knights let him go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're having a little bit of fun. There was an article the Review Journal put out there, and I respectfully disagreed. So I made my point pretty clear about that, and I fired my shot back. And we'll see if the Review Journal has an opinion on my article, and we'll go up and back. It's fun, and there's a lot of fire and passion right now with Marchessault and opinions, and I have mine. Review Journal has theirs, you have yours, and everyone else has theirs, and that's okay. We can disagree and talk about it, but at the end of the day, I do feel that the front office missed the bus on this one.
I do too.
Marchessault's got 3 really good productive years. Let's be clear about this, where he can get anywhere in that 22 to 35 goal range. You just don't know what's going to happen in Nashville. I got an idea what I know probably would have happened in Vegas. I think 22 to 35 goals average in 3 years works. And then whatever you get in years 4 and 5, so be it out of Marchessault. Salary cap's going to be pushing $100 million in the 4th and 5th year, maybe 95, who knows, but somewhere between 95 and $102 million is where the salary cap is going to be 4 to 5 years from now. So that $5 million, it would have been 5.5 AAB, it would have been $5 million. Marchessault would have taken a little bit less, I think. But if it was 5.5 million AAV in Vegas for 5 years, that money is swept under the rug. And the other side to look at this, the other point is that the Golden Knights Stanley Cup window is closing. It's closing. It closed a little faster with the loss to Marchessault, in my opinion. But in 4 to 5 years from now, the Stanley Cup window is closed anyway. Let Marchessault ride out in the sunset. You're going to want a Jonathan Marchessault when this team does start to struggle and rebuild to sell tickets. His farewell tour, right? I mean, that would certainly be a draw. And the Golden Knights are very the business of the team is very important from the financial side. So having Marchessault to sell tickets when this team is struggling wouldn't have been a bad thing. And obviously the Golden Knights felt otherwise. And here we are today.
Did I see you at the Nick Hague wedding at Cascada on Saturday? No. Okay. Yeah, no one. I didn't see you like reposting.
Cascada's amazing. Have you ever been out there before?
Of course, yes.
I've golfed it twice. Oh my God, it's remarkable.
They wouldn't allow me to golf.
That course is much better than I am.
I did a promotion once out there. I've been there a few times, but mostly working. One time with Anthony Anderson, the comedian, who's really funny dude, and that was a fun day out there. But no, they don't allow me to golf anywhere like that exclusively. But I thought for sure, maybe I thought you were in the bushes taking some of those photos for us.
There's no trees there. There are no bushes at Cascada. That's kind of weird, actually.
It's on a hot day like it's been this weekend. It's brutal out there. 30 goals, you think? Is that a possibility for Marchessault? And then you talked about
possibility, and there's a different scenario. So obviously, and there's a lot of people all of a sudden, Eichel made Marchessault what he was and all of that. And I think Eichel's a great player. We agree on that. Marchessault's a great player as well. People just firing these shots at Marchessault basically on the way out, saying Eichel is the reason this happened. I don't know if that's fair.
Wait. But didn't
help each other? Definitely.
Didn't Marchessault's productivity go up and he got more shots when Eichel was out? He
That
got
could have
more
been. I don't know
shots,
what the
yes,
stats
than his
line
product.
were
I
when
know we talked about this during the midst of all that going on.
and
Yeah.
we got a lot of power play goals too happening and everything. And listen, Marchessault's a great player. Eichel's a great player, and we're going to find out. I mean, if Mark Stone goes up to Eichel's wing, we'll see how that works out. The better comparison is if an Alex Holtz or a Dorofiev or a Brisson or an Olofsson winds up on that wing. Let's see what their production is. If they go bonkers, then sure, I will definitely buy that Eichel is making these guys to a degree. But that said, if Marchessault goes down to Nashville or over to Nashville or up to Nashville, depending on where Cassidy is, and gets 30 goals, so be it. Great, good for him.
Coming up next, can
Wait,
Bruce Cassidy,
hold on, stop. The thing is more points. Tony, who's getting more points, the Preds or the Golden Knights? And then I'll
I was
answer.
gonna
Come on, Tony.
oh, of course the Preds. Was that the question? The
I'll
Preds.
take Preds have 2 or
Plus,
better points than the Golden Knights.
yeah, plus 3 and a hook. I think it's going
Plus
to be
3 and a
everyone's
hook
gonna,
and minus
yeah,
150 on that side.
I think everyone's gonna be okay. So the Preds plus 3.5 points better than
Bookmark it.
VGK, minus 150, put in the parking lot.
Bookmark it.
I was gonna try to tease it for the second segment and throw it in there, but that's okay. You spoiled the party again.
Second segment, that's Cassidy.
Let's see. Can Bruce Cassidy get the most from this current roster? We'll talk about that when we return next, right here on this edition of Lockdown Golden Knights. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel today, and you could go to fanduel.com/lockdown and start making the most of your summer. You could also bet a ton of futures. And believe it or not, 2 weeks from Sunday, we've got the Raiders opening camp in Costa Mesa. I almost say Costa Rica, in Costa Mesa, California. And so a lot of folks now in football mode. And this week, a lot of action here in our city, collegiate-wise, Big 12 Media Days, Mountain West Media Days, and a lot more. So head on over to FanDuel.com, bet your futures, and, of course, Major League Baseball, because FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe on our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Bruce Cassidy has some known commodities already in the lineup, like Eichel, Stone, Carlson. I guess you can say Hurdle, even though he wasn't really effective as much when he came in late. We have seen the way that Cassidy can push the buttons. Your microphone is off, bro. So we have to make sure.
I was chewing. I have this problem. I drink like 6 cups of coffee before I eat anything. And this is about the time of day I start to feel really weird. So I was actually chomping on some breakfast cookies over here while you were doing the reads.
Okay, that's all good. And so what were you saying, though, anyway, that you were muted?
Oh, Hurdle. Good in the face-off circle. Hurdle, good in the face-off circle.
The best play of the season, my favorite highlight was when he won the face-off and scored the goal off of it. That was exceptional.
And there's going to be more of that. There's going to be a lot more
moments
of that. I mean, all
yeah?
aside, there'll be a lot more of that from Hurdle.
I'm curious how Cassidy will be coaching Alexander Holtz and Victor Olofsson, and how he will bring along Brisson and Dorofiev and Korzak, the younger players, which he absolutely dislikes traditionally, does not like the younger players. I feel that there's enough currently with this current nucleus, perhaps, with the players that remain. One of Bruce's bad habits, though, Bruce's bad habits should have its own like weekly segment. Bruce's bad habits is mixing up the lines repeatedly and even late into last season. And I think it was to his detriment. I really do. He's going to have to stick with his lines.
Like chemistry.
As well, that's one of the reasons why. Even when you had healthier players, he's still trying to mix and match, and he's doing it late in the season. And if I'm the powers that be, a.k.a. the made men, got to stop it. I would tell him right now, you can't be doing that as frequently as you have in the past.
McCrimmon has an opinion about the goalies and who should play, and during the Robin Lehner era has basically told DeBoer which goalies to use. DeBoer wanted to go with one goalie and McCrimmon none, and that definitely created some friction, if you will, in the locker room. And you do have to wonder how much McCrimmon is going to get involved, I guess, if you will, if the season doesn't go the way McCrimmon needs it to go. McCrimmon needs this season to start well, as does Coach Bruce Cassidy. A couple things about Cassidy. So you did mention about his issues, if you will, with younger players. So when Cassidy first came over to Vegas, it was questioned. It wasn't with the presser or just an article, whatever it was, but it was brought up about his relationships with younger players and stuff. And Cassidy right away did mention that he had players in the American League like Pasta and Marchand, and he had other players, like younger players come up like a Charlie McAvoy and stuff like that. These are players that were developed under his watch. And then you did have issues with players like Jake DeBrusk and some other situations. And I think like in Vegas when Pete DeBoer was outed, I think you had the same thing happened in Boston when Cassidy was outed. It was those exit interviews when talking to the players and getting their opinion, because Cassidy was supposed to remain in Boston. Like there was it Sweeney, not Sweeney, Cam Neely,
Yeah.
right? Cam Neely, I believe.
Okay,
Neely
Sweeney.
came out. Sweeney, okay, apologies. Sweeney came out and said, okay, Cassidy's the man. And then all of a sudden Cassidy got fired a week or two later. So definitely a weird situation. How does this play into Vegas now? A lot of young players. Look at some mysterious situations with the Golden Knights this year. Zach Whitecloud, some very strange scratches. Bruce Cassidy and Whitecloud, there's some issues there. Alec Martinez, some mystery scratches. There's some issues there. Martinez and Pietrangelo, two players that are standing up for the Golden Knights in the locker room when Cassidy's wearing down these younger players. You're not taking Pietrangelo out of the lineup, come hell or high water, but Alec Martinez became expendable when Noah Hannafin came. So that limited some things there. Mike Amadio, contract issues all season long. Golden Knights tried to lowball him. All of a sudden, Amadio's on the outside looking in, getting some healthy scratches when you're like, okay, why is Amadio not in the lineup tonight? These are some games that the Golden Knights management and leadership have played with players on the roster. Now, Brisson, Holtz, Olofsson, all these new players coming in, and Dorofeev, who's going to have a bigger role. Cassidy's going to wear these guys down. Cassidy is a coach that demands nothing less than perfection. This is documented. This is out there. You can read between the lines, hearing from the players and stuff like that on the record and off the record. And Cassidy, I'm not saying he's not capable. Like, let's make sure we're on both sides of this here. But Cassidy is going to have to find a way to get all these players, a common word we've been hearing a lot of lately, is overperform or outperform their contracts so the Golden Knights do have a competitive season. And Cassidy's going to be tough on these guys. He's going to wear these guys down. And there were some reports about locker room drama and Cassidy losing the locker room last year. I got that from a pretty reliable source, to say the least.
We said that. I said that on the air.
You were all over that, and I got a good confirmation. So when you do a mathematical equation, your perspective and my source, we're on the ball on that one. I don't care what people say about that. So now Cassidy is coming into a new season like this with all these question marks. Cassidy's going to have what, Jack Adams, that's the award for the best coach. Cassidy's going to have that type of a season to get the most out of this roster.
Ooh, now I've said he's on the clock. Okay. And our over-under's 2.5, right? 2.5 years, season tier. And
God,
he'll be
yeah.
approaching that.
I felt that got extended out to 3 with the Stanley Cup victory, but last season got that taste out of our mouth pretty fast. I think January is the over-under right now.
If Cassidy comes back, if he returns with too nice of a tan, too evenly matched there of his tan lines and what have you, then the GM and the front office are going to be concerned that he was not focusing enough on hockey in the off season. This is a copycat league. And so I'm just wondering what Cassidy copies this year. Again, his biggest issue was chasing down the puck, tough on the corners, and making sure that you're hard on the puck and the forecheck. And right now with this roster, do they have enough grit in this lineup? One of the players, perhaps, that could actually, we were joking about him the other day, that could step up, perhaps could be a Zach Ashton Reese, 29 years old, very strong on the forecheck. No, he's a forechecker and he's a hitter. and they're going to need some grit in this lineup. I don't think they have enough grit as it stands right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And starting with Mark Stone, and I've been very clear about his skating ability and stuff, but in the same breath, come January, we saw a different version of Mark Stone where he was, I don't know if it was just it took him that long to get his health. I don't know what it was, but Mark Stone definitely had a great period before he went down to injury where he was skating probably the best I've ever seen him in his Vegas Golden Knight career. Winning those races, outworking people in the corners. His forecheck was to a new level, which is already on a level beyond 98% of the players in the National Hockey League. So which version of Mark Stone do we get? That's the first question. The playoff version won't cut it, but he was, rehabbing that spleen, and however you want to take that. Eichel is not a win your battles, win your races type of player. He does okay, but that's not his DNA. Ivan Barbashev fits that mold, definitely. Brett Howden fits the board battle mode. This is where Paul Cotter is actually going to be missed a lot. Paul Cotter I've been very critical of, but I've also said many times about Paul Cotter that as long as he is the type of player that keeps winning those races and those board battles, he will always find a place in a National Hockey League lineup. Wasn't enough to keep him in Vegas, but he's a player that he can play into his mid to late 30s as long as he is that type of player, an Evan Rodriguez type of career where he finds a way to start scoring some goals late, Side of that, I mean, Dorfiev's not that guy. Dorfiev's a little better than I think people give him credit for, but
skill guy.
He's not right. And William Karlsson, Tony, I'll leave that one to you.
And Brisson.
Brisson's not that guy. Colasar and Nick Waugh are those guys. Colasar and Nick Waugh. Will Carrier was that guy.
Carrier.
Sorry. So that's another thing right there. I mean, so
you have to pull up that video too. We should have had that video queued up for one of these shows about the pronunciation. That
was pretty funny.
That was pretty good with
so Zach Aston Reacher. I mean, okay, he's got 310 NHL games. He only played 3 games last season with Detroit and a bunch of games in the AHL. So I mean, I think they're just hoping to get some lightning in a bottle there, and he might be the God. Who was the fourth liner they brought up a couple of times? Not Denisenko. Scored a goal every now and then. God, who am I thinking?
Ron Bjork. I don't know who you're.
No, not Ron Bjork. Even less games than that. I'll give it to you. Right, Morelli. He might kind of take Mason Morelli's role.
Yeah, I like
Morelli too, but Morelli is a 28-year-old. That's although Zach Aston Reach is probably the same age, right?
I'm surprised. Yeah,
he's 29 years old. Those two are going to be competing for that. I don't know.
Morelli was good while he was up. Yeah, he was good.
He was fine, but as an everyday player, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, not as an everyday player for sure. And then we'll have to see what Thomas Hertl can produce, how much Cassidy can pull out of Hertl, so he returns.
How much can Hertl pull out of his knees, Tony? Let's start there.
Yeah, two knee injuries, right? Not good. That's not a good thing in the NHL.
It's a slower team. Parking lot. We've talked about this a couple times. It's a slower team. This team lost a lot of their speed. Chandler Stevenson, dude had a motor.
Someday you said no, you didn't want to do that. I thought you.
No, I think we keep finding better topics.
Okay, we do have another topic on today's show, and that's
Can I take that one off, Tony? I'm just gonna go single screen. You can take the show home. I'm out of here, dude.
Development camp, some news and some notes. Not much ado about nothing.
I'll do some research. Do we have an ad read maybe so I can do some research about this third segment?
We'll be back with more right after this on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. There's no read, bro. Why are you?
You got this. You got this. Go ahead.
No, I don't know more than you. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We're in scramble mode on this.
If you're on audio, what just happened, guys, when we do the ad reads, we go to a single shot where it's just Tony doing the ad reads.
I hate that too.
That's what I just did right there to Tony on the audio side. So if you're wondering what the heck's going on, there you go.
Okay. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, there's so many new listeners and viewers, so please make sure to like, subscribe, leave comments wherever you might check it out.
And we do appreciate that. We do appreciate everybody.
Oh,
so thank you guys.
In a major way, especially
and if you disagree with us, we appreciate you too. Like it's okay to disagree.
It's
okay
and we can
interact, and it's good. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we don't we're not softies there.
No,
We're
let's
very
talk.
hard on the puck. We're hard on the puck. Us two.
Yeah, we're tough
We
in the
don't care.
corner.
Yeah, we're very tough in the corner. Of course, subscribe to the Locked On Golden Knights
When's the
YouTube
last time you had
channel.
ice skates on, Tony? When's the last time you wore a pair of ice skates?
Now, I've been on thin ice an awful lot, but the last
You
time,
sleep on thin ice.
oh my goodness, it's
What that?
been childhood. Yeah, childhood, long
So
time
not in this
ago.
century.
I've walked on ice, out there a few occasions.
For the record, I was on ice this past Monday, so I'm on ice usually a couple times a week.
Are you going to referee again ever?
Yeah, I think so. I just no time. Business has been good. My personal business has been good. So
Business
that's
is booming.
it cost me money to go make money reffing. Call it what it is.
Remember the outdoor game at Caesar's Palace? They allowed us to walk. They played that outside game September and
Did you have bug
decades
spray? I
ago.
hope, because there's a lot of bugs on the ice.
There were a lot of grass. It was grasshopper season. The day before, they allowed us to go out on the ice and just like walk on that ice, which was major slush. So you knew the next day, the game between the Rangers and the Kings was just going to be a disaster. Great idea back in the day with the outdoor arena at Caesar's Palace. But yeah, that's one of the last times I think I was on ice. They don't like to let me around there unless I am Tony Zamboni, if I'm on the Zamboni. The highlight in Saturday's development camp scrimmage, if you're asking about that, I was watching it. They had the live stream. About 3 minutes remaining. Joe Fleming, one of our favorites here, he's tripped up for the first penalty of the game, which is 3 minutes to go. And so they award him with a penalty shot.
Fleming got a penalty shot,
which was absolutely the worst penalty shot in history.
The defenseman got a penalty shot. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he does. Like, he comes in, it's all about the approach, and he's gliding in and he takes the side route, a couple of moves, and then he just it was so bad. He just circles, and it was such an easy stop for Oscar Lindbaum that everyone started laughing, I think, on both sides of the ice. So that was the highlight.
I gotta find out who the refs were, because they're local refs. These aren't NHL refs that do these games, so I gotta find out who.
He really did get
who the refs
up.
were and have a talk with them.
But then he comes back and he actually commits a penalty on the other end. So it was just silliness. And I just have to go back to something they said. Will Nickel, in his post development camp scrimmage presser, they actually let an assistant coach speak for once. Didn't know what he sounded like.
Howden got to talk too.
Holy smokes. I'm like, okay, so he said, Will Nichols said, the director of player development, we didn't give them any structure. So they just were playing like a pickup game on ice. He said, just no shenanigans. Make sure that you keep it clean, what have you. It was finesse. It was the end of the week. It wasn't exciting. I'm going to say that. Why wouldn't they start to build the structure there? That's my question. Why is there no structure? It's development camp. What are we doing here? I know that they had the cooking class. That was one of the big highlights. But why no structure?
I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to teach these guys Bruce Cassidy's system and all this. I mean, listen,
have them come in and yell at people.
Cassie's usually there. I don't know if Cassie's usually there watching.
That's what I'm saying. He's tanning somewhere.
He might have been talking to the guys on the side. I don't know, but Cassie's usually in the stands watching. If he wasn't, I don't know. Someone can tell us about that. But was there any reports? Again, I won't pay attention to this because there's honestly not much need to. But
no, it's okay.
One player who did work his way up is Cataford. Cataford was in camp last year and camp this year. He did get 4 games in the AHL. And from the Q, Tony, he's from the Q, my favorite league on the planet, from the QMJHL. And I just remember watching Cataford for his last couple of games in Henderson. That's a guy that can move out there. That's a guy that does win his battles and everything, and just had a different presence than all the other players. And again, only age 19, a lot of upside there. I'm assuming since he played in the AHL last season, he's going to be in the AHL this year, and that could be someone to watch. He
had a goal yesterday, and they pulled him up there for the final 4 games of the season for the Silver Knights, and I'm glad that you saw him. But No,
No,
there's an
he's
upside
different.
to
He's a
him.
different player. There's something there.
Yeah,
There's definitely
there's
something
something there
there,
at
and
19.
be curious to see how Nashville develops him.
And then Lucas Van Vliet had a goal on Lindbaum, who played very well. I think that was the only goal that
A
he
lot of hype
came.
on Lindbaum coming in. A lot of hype.
Yeah, that's the only goal I think he let up while he was in there for a while. I found it interesting. Who was I talking about the other day?
Timmy?
This is a camp without
Oh,
Jackson Hallam. People watching the show, bro. I'm telling you right now, between the second and third periods at intermission, Jackson Hallam was the guest, and just talking about him coming back off of the knee surgery and all that. He was here. Maybe they just flew him in after I made my remarks. Who knows?
am I supposed
My
to respond to
popular
that?
fan,
No.
but it really wasn't the development camp that we are used to here.
Yeah, because Brachan
There's a
wasn't
lot.
there.
Correct, right? Term limits for Brisson, but it just wasn't. It didn't have that appeal. It just wasn't as exciting or electric.
Nobody
Not
knew
a ton
about
of.
it, Tony. They didn't announce it until Monday morning, and it started Monday afternoon.
I announced it a week
Oh,
before.
March is so. They didn't want anyone there.
Do you think that there would have been protesters?
I think the Golden Knights are definitely, there's a lot of damage control happening, whether it's within the media, whether it's by the team itself, whether it's articles that are randomly popping up. And I get it. Listen, there is damage control to be done. And I will credit the Golden Knights, honestly, because the Golden Knights have found a way to somewhat turn the tables where you have probably 65% of the people maybe on the Marchessault side, 35 people on the Vegas Golden Knights side.
Yeah, it's
But now
definitely
that's
leaning
shifting.
towards March or
It's
so.
shifting. I think it's shifting a little bit. I think it's more down
They're
the
going to
middle
try to
now.
change the perception by opening game. Is
Of
what
course,
they're going
and
to
that's
do.
their job. Like, that's their job. It's also our job to call it out, but that's
Right.
their job, and they're doing a good job of that. I mean, it's PR. That's what PR does.
Media manipulation. What are you talking about here? Okay, we
Yes,
appreciate
and
everyone
that's their
tuning in.
job, and that's okay.
Okay.
And that's okay. That's what all teams do it. It's not just the
A
Golden Knights thing.
controversial pick and Marchessault at the same time, and that is a wicked storm. And then, of course, they didn't want people really to show up, basically, for development camp.
Someone commented, I think I just want to say this right now. Someone asked about Bjornfoot, and like they keep commenting on our YouTube because you don't talk about it. So can you just talk about Tobias Bjornfoot for a little bit here?
Why?
I don't know. Some people keep commenting on it.
Okay, what do you want to say? I
don't know. Just make something up like you always do.
He would have been great for the IKEA line with Olofsson.
We got to drive that home. The IKEA line's good. Who's the IKEA line? Who is it officially?
Well, it's just right now they need another Swede on that line. So, but it's Carlson and Olofsson. Those two guys, two Swedish meatballs. Of course, we'll be back again tomorrow. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. You make this show really pop. And don't forget, on Fridays, it's WTF, What the Friday. Saturdays, sometimes in season, I should say, it's the Chris and Chris Jr. show. That is the
There'll be one this week coming up. We'll definitely have one this week.
There is. That's a news flash.
Me and Chris will be at the softball game, both as credentialized media. It's going to be great.
Wait, hang on. This is tomorrow's topic. We have to talk about this tomorrow.
Okay.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll see you
anyway.
tomorrow. For my man, Chris Golick. I haven't said for my man in a while. Whoa, I'm slipping here. That's slippage. They're not going to give me a 5-year contract because I'm slipping. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please stay cool and take care.